Good day. Welcome to Nona with Heal at HealwNonaBlacktv. Excited to have you in today. Want you to like, share, and subscribe the video. Today will be the first part of my diabetic journey I want to share with you. This channel was created for the H in Heal is for health. It's to bring awareness about your health, self-love, self-care, to focus on our health so that we can have quality of life. We want long life. We want life where we can be vibrant, do things, and that means we have to focus on our health. Also, the E in Heal is for education. I am not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a health professional. I just have my personal journey. And in my journey, this video will focus on the pre-diabetic part. In my journey, I had questions. I thought I had gotten answers. I thought I knew general information enough to help me, but I needed to know more and understand more. So if anything in my journey can make you think about your situation, to make you seek more answers earlier, to make you get into the details and understand how diabetes can affect your body, your history, what your family history is, and how those things affect you, then that's the education part. And just knowing my journey. What worked for me may not work for you. What didn't work for me may or may not work for you. But if it gets you to look at your prescriptions more and read all of that extra information that they have that a lot of times people just don't read, to know that. So that's the education part. And I want that to be a help to you and your family. And A is for abundance, and also it's for attitude and to be aware. We have to be aware of our situation. We have to get our checkups. We have to know our numbers. We have to get our blood work. And to be aware that certain foods affect us certain ways. So we have to know those things. And if we don't know or know what the numbers mean, then we won't know how to react. And then also life. L in Heal is for life, because we want to have a vibrant life. We want to have a long, healthy life. We want to also, be our first person to teach our children is us at home. So the things that we learn, we want to talk to them and teach them. You can never force or make anyone do anything. You can only provide the information, and then they, as adults, will have to make their own choices, their own decisions. But we can have a quality of life, and if I'm a part of your life, if you're a part of this Heal family, I want you to have an abundant life. And so come with me as we start this journey. It's going to be a minimum of a three-part series. In this video, hopefully I'm be able to add some pictures here onto this side so that you can see things that happen across my journey. So let me get started. Heal at HealwNonaBlacktv is just, I had such a satiable appetite wanting to learn more when I was first diagnosed diabetic. And before I got to that point in situation, like I say, I'm that person. I go to my doctor regularly. I have my physicals yearly for the most part. I have my blood work done and stuff. So, and I have a strong family history. My mother is diabetic. Two of my brothers were diabetic. I'm the youngest of four. And my grandparents were both what you would call severe diabetics. My on my father's side. My father's mother, I'm named after her, which is why my name is Nona. And they were deceased before I was born, so I didn't get to know them. I only know what my family relayed and the stuff that I have learned since I took, my ancestral DNA and just more reading about them. So with a strong family history, me trying to eat right, what I thought was eating right, a strong family history of what I thought was eating right, what I thought was right by exercising and going to my doctor. So the very first time I ever had a blood sugar above 90, one of my physicals came back and my doctor was like, your number was 93, that's outside the norm, you have history. And, because we had this, of course, discussed my background history. And in that, so I was like, yes, doctor. And the doctor was saying, well, in 5 years, you're going to be diabetic. In 5 years, you don't lose this amount of weight, you're going to be diabetic. 5 years from now, if you haven't changed, if you can't change this, you're going to be diabetic. And I was like, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. No. So in that process and getting that blunt information at the doctor, I decided I needed to concentrate on where I was, what I was doing as far as my physical activity, what I was doing as far as my eating. And I was blessed. Around that same time, I had done fasting, beginning of the year, fasting and praying, consecration. And in that time, I had lost some weight, and I just had been praying to God. I wanted to be better, mind, body, and spirit. I wanted a better total connection with Him, a better and total health. So in seeking that information, my job was offering to help pay 50% if we tried Weight Watchers. And of course you had a requirement, you had to attend more than half the classes and finish sitting in, which wasn't a problem. So, and I had been interested in it. I had not ever taken it. So I did. I signed up for the Weight Watchers program. And through my job, I was blessed. They were offering like the weekly meetings they were having at my job. So it wasn't a time where I couldn't get there because it was, I might have had to go pick my daughter up or whatever. I was able to do it at work on my lunch, or I could set my lunch time to take whenever the meeting was. So that was a blessing to me. And then with my job offering it at that time to pay 50% of it, it made it cost effective to me. And I had no idea that it would change my life. All I know is that I was trying to lose weight, and this is a lifelong thing. There's times in my, younger teens, early 20s, of course, and I was, walking and running on the track and trying to eat right, and I had lost a lot of weight, and I was like, yeah, gang ho. So, into my 20s, while I still maintained some gains, then, the history of being overweight and stuff was coming back. It was a constant fighting battle with me trying to lose weight, trying to what I thought was eat healthy. But when I did try the Weight Watchers, it really was a game changer for me because one thing I did enjoy, and this is the old Weight Watchers, this is not the new Weight Watchers, WW New Weight Watchers, hey, and a sponsorship, I would love to try it again. But under the old Weight Watchers, what I did love about it, I felt like it taught you how to eat regular food. It wasn't, you got to take shots, you got to order certain foods, you got to because I knew in order for me to be successful in it, in order for it to be a life-changing thing that I did, I had to be able to know how to function and eat regular food. And that is what Weight Watchers taught me. It gave you sample menus. One thing in my pre-diabetic journey, I realized that I didn't always eat breakfast. And so sometimes I would, sometimes I wouldn't. And then in the process of the whole thing and learning how to eat, oftentimes what I realized is that I wasn't eating enough. There's a very large misperception and stereotype that everyone who is overweight or everyone who is heavy just eats a whole bunch of terrible stuff and they're just slobs and just eat. And that's not always the case. A lot of times people don't eat breakfast or they don't eat but one meal, but then they overconsume at a meal, and their body is holding on to everything they eat because they don't eat timely, they don't eat properly, or what they think is healthy may not be healthy. But those things that I had to learn. So in my pre-diabetic journey, I started my devotion. So I wanted mind, body, and speech and spirit healing. So that's what I did. As I began to learn the different things about Weight Watchers, I also had took one of those surveys, study things, and it was asking you different things about weight, a lot of different questions. And I was like, yeah. But what I did realize was, while I wasn't brought up to be embarrassed because of my weight, or brought up to be put down because of my weight, I did realize that I was avoiding taking pictures because I didn't like how the pictures look, how I look. So, what they say, pictures or videos may add weight to you, but it also is a snapshot. If something doesn't look very correctly on you, you'll see it in it. You'll see it. So what I realized was, obviously it was a problem, because if it wasn't a problem, I wouldn't be avoiding the pictures. I wouldn't be avoiding. So I also started with a ladies group called Black Girls Run, which I'm excited to tell you more about. And if it wasn't for that ladies group, I probably wouldn't have any before pictures, because I didn't want to take pictures. I didn't like pictures because I felt like I looked too heavy in them and all. But I'm like, okay, my body is a slave to my mind. So in order for my body to change, I had to change my mind and my way of thinking. Try to keep this, not get off point. But in the pre-diabetic stage, so I went to the doctor. First time my numbers was over 90. Doctor was saying, oh, well, you're going to be this, you're going to be that in 5 years. And I'm like, no, the devil is a liar. So I set off, as I said, to be better mind, body, and spirit. I was able to do the Weight Watchers. Another thing the Weight Watchers did for me was accountability, because you have a weekly weigh-in. I did weigh myself more sometimes than once a week, but no matter what, you had the weekly weigh-in. It's written down on a card. It's not something you have to share with the group, so it could be personal to you and whoever was the leader of the group or whatever. But it was my accountability partner, as in fact that you can say you're eating this, you can believe you're eating that, but how what you're eating from week to week affects you, affects your numbers. And then when you get on the scale, it's gonna let you know, basically, are you eating more than your calories you're burning, and what are those things? So that made me accountable. And what I did learn about that, and I still do keep that now today, even with not being with the old Weight Watchers, because it lets me know if I'm gaining or if I'm losing. So if you're in a, say you're not maybe exercising as much, or maybe you're not eating the right things properly, then it would let you know, okay, I'm on a gaining curve here, and instead of 1 pound or 2 or 3 pounds gaining from a week to another week, and letting that turn into 10 to 15 or more pounds. And that's a lot of times what happens over the holidays. You're able to say, okay, what did I eat last week? How am I exercising? And you're able to know if you reverse course and fix whatever that is, or if you're continuing on that pattern, then what you're eating or not eating as far as being healthy. I was younger then. I think at my highest, very highest at the time, pre-diabetic, I may have been around 267. So in the process of doing the Weight Watchers program, I did it twice. And I did it the second time because I wanted to know more about how to eat foods. Like I said, it really did help me. I started eating breakfast and making sure I ate breakfast. So, and then I had 3 to 4 meals, sometimes very small meals, and then I also ate snacks. One thing I did learn about eating breakfast and not eating a candy bar or something unhealthy. Excuse me. So that was important. Later on, I learned to, when I had my breakfast, to include a protein in the breakfast. I mean, when you're not eating sugar and a whole lot of sweets, it enhances the sweetness of the things that you do eat, like your fruits and stuff like that. So if I had fruit in the morning, I had my protein. And then another thing with the old Weight Watchers, you could eat 3 slices of bacon. That was a winner for me. Also, learn portion control. You kind of knew about it, general stuff you hear. Portion control, which would be like this, would be your hand balled up, your fist, your portion there is about that much. So that circle there around your hand, and everyone is a little different. And then yours can go up and down depending on how much you burn calories. But so I learned more about portion control, importance of eating breakfast, eating a healthy snack, and also eating enough. Because another reason my body wasn't burning calories was because I wasn't eating enough. I was that person who would not really eat a whole lot, maybe snack something here, snack something there, and then eat one meal. And our body has to be, our metabolism has to be like a furnace, a system. You have to feed the furnace for it to continue to burn. If you don't, then it's going to stop burning. And then also when you starve yourself, totally against that, don't starve yourself. But when you don't eat a meal all day, and then you do eat one meal, then your body's gonna hold on to it and everything with it. In a later episode on my diabetic journey, I'll tell you more about an actual class that I was able to take. And one of the other myths that I wanted to dispel, a lot of times, they were like, everybody, African American is diabetic. And that's not always true. So in the class of, say, about 10 to 12 people, 3 were African American, majority were white or Caucasian. And it was a little bit shocking to me in that perception is always, pushed that everybody's diabetic is, mostly African American, and that struck me too, to learn. So, and in that process also, you hear a lot of stories about people not eating, not eating but 1 meal a day. And our bodies are just not made or set up to function that way. So back to the Weight Watchers, the meal plan, sample meal plan, I was able to have coffee. I stopped putting regular sugar in it. I do use Splenda as a substitute. I've used stevia. I've used True It. agave. You can use whichever substitute you would like. And I use sugar-free creamer. So that's what I was do. So I was able to have the coffee in the morning. I mostly just do it 5 days. I don't do it 7 days a week. Make sure I had a protein in the morning. A lot of times I just eat egg whites because I don't like the pasty nature of the inside of the egg. I can eat it if it's in tuna salad or stuff like that, but a lot of times I would just eat the egg whites. It's less calories, better in cholesterol. And then there's times I do have to eat the middle because my good cholesterol would be like a 46 and they want it to 50. And whenever I, eat a few more of the eggs and eat the inside of the egg, then my good cholesterol will go up and it helped my number move. But, that was just few and far between, maybe once every 2 weeks or whatever. If you have that. But the main thing about that is knowing your numbers. So I had to know my numbers because I went to the doctor and I had my blood work done. And then, so I did start asking questions. So I wanted to know, and I was blessed at that time at the job I had. They used to have a thing where Be Well, and then you would get your blood work done. They would send you a sheet sometimes in the mail, and it would have like red and green, and it will be color coded. So when your numbers were within line or good, it would be green. If your numbers were out of line, too low or too high, it would be red. And then rarely, it would be yellow. So, and my goal was to get all my numbers green. So that's what I worked toward, and that's what I was able to do. So when I went back to my doctor, I started the Weight Watchers. I started we set up to monitor it. I already went once a year, so we set up to make sure that we were checking it every year. And so I was able to start the Black Girls Run group. So fabulous, encouraging ladies group. They, take ladies of all places, and it's called Black Girls Run, but it takes walkers. It takes ladies who do intervals. It takes ladies who do run. And they are very, no woman left behind. They are very welcoming, very encouraging. I truly, truly miss it. And I became active in it to the point that I would go 4, sometimes 5 days a week out to participate. It was a blessing because you have like-minded ladies. Some are running to be more healthy. Some are running for races. Some are running to lose weight. Some are in the bodybuilding. Some are, and I also learned everyone's body is different. Some people, doing it to gain more muscle and to gain weight, because everybody's different. If you're not used to having a heavier frame and you're petite and you gain weight, even 10 pounds can affect you. So for sure, one of these points, the Weight Watchers helping me to understand how to interact with food, healthy meal plans, what they really kind of look like, where you can get extra calories and extra things that are unhealthy and not realize it, and how to go out, how to eat at restaurants. You can look for healthy options. So you had to learn how to live. I had to learn how to live with my children. If I wasn't eating a particular thing and they were, how did I manage that, in my household and dealing with food? So pre-diabetic, and I did that with the ladies for good three or more years. I lost over 60 pounds. I did a few other things in like health challenge thing, but for the most part, it was the proper eating, the activity of the walks we normally did, anywhere from 3 to 5 miles through the week, and a long run on the Saturdays. And the farthest I went was a 13.2, which is what they call a half, like a marathon. And so, and I did some other races, and I really did enjoy it. You'll probably see a picture of that. And like I said, I miss it tremendously. I did have a situation with a car accident, so I'm not able to do that physically as much, but I do exercise as much as I can. I just have to modify it. But in the process of that, Weight Watchers teaching me how to interact and deal with regular food, what I did like about it is it didn't tell you that you couldn't have this or you couldn't have that, or you know what I'm saying. It always told you, set healthy time limits to eat, portion control. If you wanted to have something that would maybe be considered unhealthy, like when you work in offices and it was birthday parties, and for everybody's got a cake. And then over time, that stuff adds up. So if it was at an event or something and I did want to participate, I would get just the smallest, thinnest slice. And then most times your taste buds is, once you kind of, have that taste or that craving, then you're okay. You know what I'm saying? If you don't just cut the big slice or the big piece and then try to eat all of that, then there's ways there to minimize the calories. Or it may somebody else in the office who may be watching calories or trying to lose weight, and you'd be like, would you mind splitting a cupcake with me? And they'd be like, yes, I want to taste that one, but I didn't want to eat the whole thing. So those types of things. Also, when you go to eat out at restaurants, like I said, looking for healthier things on the menu. Also knowing that you can ask, like, do y'all cook that in butter? Is it any way I could possibly have my veggies cooked in olive oil? Things like that you can. A lot of times, from way before, a lot of restaurants have more healthier options. And then you also have to be careful to look out for things that are not. Some restaurants were washing their lettuce in sugar water, and people weren't knowing that, and then they, eating it thinking they had a healthy option, and then it's, I had a salad, but it's not adding up, your calories. So very particularly Weight Watchers and learning how to interact with food and how to eat, being consistent and eating breakfast healthier to make sure that I was. And actually, when I lost that 60 pounds, I ate probably the most food I ever ate, because it's, you're exercising in the morning, eating breakfast, whatever snack or smoothie or something to cover between your lunchtime, eating healthy, and then whatever you're eating for dinner. Or sometimes a smoothie or whatever for dinner, but it was more food. And that was part of my problem why I was gaining weight too, was because I wasn't eating enough. And so it was very, very different. In that time, I also did some meal preps. And the meal preps were game changers too. They were very good because the meal preps, I would normally cook like on a Saturday or whatever, but I would cook, it could have cabbage, protein, half a sweet potato, or it may have like a half cup of rice. So depending on what I had in the meal prep, it could be cabbage, it could be any kind of greens, or it could be broccoli sprouts, or it could be string beans, or it could be collard greens. So I would normally have something green, whatever the protein was. It could be, normally it would be fish or chicken, or it could be something like for fish tacos or something like that. And then of course the sweet potato, which is a good carb, and sometimes rice. Now, good thing about the meal preps is that it was easy for me to have it, and also it was easier than I had it. My daughter would eat it, so it was myself eating it, my daughter eating it, and also it would keep from like that, in between, like if you were going to the doctor, if you're coming home from work, that time from when you're just getting off, you go to pick up your child or whatever, or you're going home and you're like, what are we going to eat? You already got the meal preps. You know what we're going to eat. You know it tastes good. You know it's healthy. And so that time, like, we're like, Mom, can I stop at McDonald's? Stop at McDonald's or something? Like, no, there's food ready at the house. So it was easier to have a plan in place to help bypass times where unhealthy options would be there trying to tempt you away. So I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to get ready to stop here for the pre-diabetic journey. And so in that situation, I thought, okay, now I'm done. I'm losing weight. I'm exercising. I've learned more about food. I'm being accountable with the weekly weigh-in. And even though I have family history, I don't have it. I fought it off. My numbers have been good when I went back year to year. I'm good. Everything's okay. That was my pre-diabetic journey. So when we have part 2, you will learn more about how I got to the point of being actually diagnosed diabetic. I do want to say that even though I was thinking that I had asked all the right questions, I had been proactive trying to not have it, even knowing that I had heavy family history. My mother was diabetic. And at one point, even my mom got to the point of being diabetic to where they said her pancreas stopped working altogether. She had been diabetic many years. She was fine. They had to change her medicine. They changed, and they said, okay, well, her pancreas just completely stopped working, so they had to change. And so when she was diagnosed, I was here in Florida, so she was back home in Mississippi. So I remember my sister trying to learn how to shoot the oranges or whatever to give her the shot. And my aunt, who helped take care of her, who was a nurse, so she was already fluent in that. I didn't want to have to be on that, and I felt like I had been proactive, like I said. But even as you go and try to do your due diligence, make sure that you spend more time understanding and researching about diabetes and being diabetic, because like I said, I had many years from far back as I can remember from a child, had been what people would consider overweight. So in that time frame, so the times when I did lose weight, or I remember, what is that stuff called? Cottage cheese. And I was like, this is what you gotta do to lose weight? I'll never lose weight. I hate that stuff. And I didn't eat it because I couldn't stomach it, but there was other healthier options that I could take. And it took me a while to get to find out and know about that. So we'll get into that more. But know that strong family history genes, it has a lot to play into the process. So we have to know that. People will say, or they'll say you have family history, and you'll see people, well, then if they're diabetic, they should just eat right. They should just not drink soda. They should just not do this. but it's a lot more to that. It's not that black and white. It's not that easy thing. Yes, you can try to eat right. Yes, you can try to exercise. Yes, you can be diligent and go into the doctor and things, but that doesn't mean that the person hasn't done all they've done and still maybe become diabetic. So we'll get into it again next week. We'll do part 2 and get into the part from being pre-diabetic to actually being diagnosed diabetic and everything that went with that. It's a much difficult conversation. A lot happened, and I don't mind sharing my journey, because if my journey can help someone, if it can, someone can learn from it, maybe ask more questions, get a better understanding, and it helps them, then I'm willing to do that. And I pray that, my prayer is that if you would just share the video with others, anyone you know who may be a diabetic, may be pre-diabetic, may be wanting to understand the difference and the changes in their body. Of course, there's an email link to my business. This is HealwNonaBlacktv @gmail.com. I'm willing to answer any questions if I'm on an individual notice basis, because I just had questions, and I wanted someone who maybe would want to try to understand my journey, who didn't mind answering questions. So I don't mind. This is why I started the channel, and I wanted to be of help to others, because I needed help. I needed someone to answer my questions, and so that I could get better. All right, Heal family, it's been wonderful talking to you today. Excited to go to the next part. Working on another food video, so you may see another video, extra bonus video this week. But I wanted to say, I care about this community that we're building. I care about this family. Please like, share, and subscribe, because I do want to be able to grow to reach more people, so that more people can be helped if possible. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. Blessings, and I hope to see you again soon.